Which of the following represents the relationship between h and c based on this graph? So if you look at the answer choices, they're basically asking us to come up with an equation that describes this line graph here. Alright, so with a line graph, there's really one thing you want to remember, especially with line graphs, and that is the slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So this form comes back to haunt us because it wants some usage here. So remember, m is the slope and b is the y-intercept, or in this case the c-intercept. So whenever we want to write out an equation for a line graph, these are the two pieces of information that define a line, the slope and the y-intercept. So let's quickly, the first thing I usually like to do is look at the intercept. That is always the easiest thing. Where does it touch the y-intercept? Well, it touches it right here at 5. So my answer should have a plus 5 somewhere. And I already see it's B or C. So not A, not D. Alright, so the difference between B and C is in the slope, in my M. Is it 3/4 or is it 3h? Okay. So remember, slope, just as a quick refresher, is equal to the change in y over the change in x. Alright, rise over run. So let's try that out here in blue. So for every 1 unit I move to the right, for every 1 in my change in x, how much do I go up? Alright, so how much do I go up? Well, here I move 1, and I move up 1, 2, 3. Now be very, very careful, because sometimes you could have said, well, I actually move across 1, 2, 3, 4, and I move up, what is it, 1, 2, 3. So it should be 3/4. But when you're calculating the slope, you got to keep in mind what units you're dealing with. So, or what rather each grid or box represents. So in this case, each grid represents 0.25 in the x, but represents 1 in the y. So you got to be very, very careful. So in this case, it's going to be 3, we go up 3 over 1. Our change in x is 1, and our change in y is 3. So that will give us a slope of 3, and your answer should be C.